Moira believes that life couldn't possibly become any worse in Emmerdale, but sadly Joe is still around, meaning another disaster is always waiting to happen. At the moment, the well-known resident is sitting in prison because the police suspect she was involved in Celia's drug trafficking and human slavery activities. Although Moira is completely blameless, she has not yet been able to find proof showing she wasn't responsible for burying the refugee Anya and Celia on her land. During the time she has been locked up, her husband Cain has had to manage the farm by himself. Alongside that, he is also running the garage, caring for Kyle and Isaac, and quietly coping with the reality that he has prostate cancer. All of this pressure is already overwhelming, yet the situation becomes even worse. Watching Butler's farm closely and waiting for the perfect opportunity is Joe, who thinks he can take control of Moira's farm business. Cain has been advised by Graham to concentrate on Moira and his own health instead of going against the Tate family, but Cain is a proud man. If he is going to lose everything, he intends to put up a fight first. Later in the week, Lydia suggests that she could take care of Kyle and Isaac for a few days, but Cain refuses her help. After she leaves, Cain stays by himself, and it becomes clear just how near he is to completely breaking down. Things become even worse for him when he discovers that Joe has organized a herd inspection after a possible tuberculosis case was reported. Because of this, none of the livestock can leave the farm until officials confirm everything is safe, which prevents the workers from carrying out their usual business. When Joe once again repeats his proposal to purchase the farm, Cain chooses not to respond. Matty is determined to keep the farm operating for the sake of his mother, but there is a growing feeling that Butler's farm may not survive in its current form. The question remains whether Cain is struggling in a battle he cannot win. Cain's big confession is coming as Emmerdale's much-loved couple faces a major test when he finally reveals the truth to Moira. Anyone who has followed Emmerdale this week will know it has been extremely difficult watching Cain Dingle spiral further into trouble. With Moira stuck in prison, Cain has been struggling to manage the farm, the conflict with the Tates, family drama, and his own shocking cancer diagnosis, all while refusing to open up. His decision to keep everything secret and push forward alone is now rapidly falling apart. After discovering that Sarah had been stealing cars alongside her grandfather, Jacob stormed into the garage to challenge Cain on Wednesday, March 4th. Charity was already present, and together they demanded an explanation. Cain refused to say anything. Jacob left in anger, and although Charity tried to speak to him more calmly, she also failed to get through to him. Cain continued shutting himself off from everyone. Later, Liam arrived at Butler's to check how he was coping. He gently pointed out that keeping his cancer diagnosis hidden might actually be making things worse. Cain brushed off the advice and refused to discuss it. Eventually, Sarah reached her limit. Frustrated at being the only person holding the secret, she angrily called Cain a coward and insisted he had to tell Moira the truth. The big question was whether Cain would finally listen. It is not until the following week that Cain finally realizes what he must do. Overcome with guilt and exhausted from pretending everything is fine while Moira praises him for keeping things running, he reaches a breaking point. After making a risky choice, Cain ends up vulnerable to Joe, with the possibility of prison looming over him. The farm's finances are in serious trouble, leaving very few solutions. Sarah once again pressures him to come clean to Moira and reminds him the deception cannot continue. A painful moment in the bathroom and the shock of seeing blood in the toilet forces Cain to face the seriousness of his condition. Liam notices how shaken he is and urges him to stop hiding the truth about his health. When Cain goes to see Moira in prison, he gathers his courage and admits that his cancer is severe. Moira is stunned by the news, but quickly tells him he must share the truth with the boys and the rest of the family because he cannot handle this burden alone. He then delivers another devastating revelation about the farm and Joe Tate. Although Moira is deeply upset, she insists that Cain's health must be the priority. Since Joe and Cain have been dealing with the negotiations so far, Moira decides it is time for her to step in and take charge. Joe, who already feels unappreciated by Kim for trying to bring butlers into the Tate empire, will certainly not welcome her involvement. When Kim arrives at the prison ready to confront Moira, the balance of power could change dramatically. The question is whether Moira will back down or prove to be a strong rival. After opening up to Moira, Cain realizes there is no going back. He begins revealing the truth to the rest of the family, including the boys, in a deeply emotional conversation. Sam gives a touching speech about how much Cain means to everyone, but the moment becomes overwhelming, and Cain steps outside to compose himself. For the first time, everything is out in the open. Now Cain must confront his illness, the battle to save the farm, and the pressure on his marriage. The question remains whether he can find the strength to keep fighting, or if everything is starting to become too much, and what lies ahead for him and Moira. Cain Dingle has been urged to accept defeat as his ongoing conflict with Joe Tate continues in Emmerdale. Graham Foster has warned Cain to end his rivalry with Joe and instead concentrate on looking after his health. This advice follows similar concerns raised by Dr. Liam Kavanagh and his granddaughter Sarah Sugden, but it remains uncertain whether Cain will actually take their guidance. Cain is currently under immense pressure. He is battling an aggressive type of prostate cancer, while his wife Moira remains in prison, wrongly accused of double murder and human trafficking, and their home at Butler's farm is now at risk. Joe has already secured ownership of half of the farm business, and is now pushing Cain harder than ever to sell the remaining share. Adding to their troubles, there is also a suspected tuberculosis outbreak among the livestock, which could destroy the herd and leave the Dingle family with nothing. In today's episode, Cami Hadid noticed Joe arriving in the village with a brand new car. It was the second vehicle Joe had bought within a month after the first one, a DeLorean, was briefly stolen by Cain before Graham later returned it. Cain quickly spotted the new car and asked Cami if he would help him steal it. Although it was a dangerous plan, the risky act seemed to give Cain a sense of excitement. Cami was tasked with distracting Joe at the pub while Cain secretly took the car keys. However, the plan quickly fell apart. Joe soon realized his car had been taken and used its advanced technology to identify who was responsible. The vehicle was equipped with GPS tracking and hidden cameras inside, which clearly captured Cain driving away. Emmerdale is broadcast on weekday evenings at 8 p.m. on ITV1, and viewers can also watch episodes online through ITVX.